Hi, it's Louise Tanner-Stokes from the Anti-Dieting Revolution, and in this week's blog video I wanted to just go through the last part of why slimming clubs suck and why you should just avoid them like the plague. So slimming clubs rake in so much money every year, yet people overall are just getting bigger, and we kind of need to think about why that is. And how often they only seem to work if you keep going. So I know some people love them, and that's great if it works for you, if you like going, following the plan, joining the group of people, getting that support, then that's great. This isn't for you. But if you dread the thought of going to slimming clubs yet again, when you hate following the plan, you find you reach the target, and then you when you quit you end up regaining all the weight and you just feel worse in the long term, then this is for you. Okay, so in the first part of this two-parter, I talked about the first 3 reasons why I think you should just avoid slimming clubs like the plague. So first of all, they're usually run by somebody who's actually not qualified to teach about nutrition. Okay, they're usually somebody who's just followed the plan, and it's worked for them and they're a big fan. Okay, the second reason is that the focus is too much on weight and weight loss. Okay, and then the third reason was that the advice they give you is too prescriptive. It doesn't look at where you're starting from. What are your normal habits? Okay, they just give you this one size fits all. This is the plan. This is what you've got to follow. Okay, so here are the next 3 reasons why I think you should just forget slimming clubs, because they suck, they make it worse for you. Okay, so reason number 4 then is the advice they give you on healthy eating, or on what to eat, is too strict, it's too drastic, it's not what I would call normal healthy eating. They only want you to lose weight at the end of the day, because they want the results, they want you to look like you're doing really well. Okay, so it's all about following the plan perfectly, or you've failed. Okay, they give you loads of rules about food that are, quite frankly, just bollocks. Okay, it's often about cutting foods out, cutting whole food groups out, which isn't healthy, or it's labelling some foods as bad. And they're the foods you're not supposed to eat, or you're only allowed to eat a certain amount, a really tiny amount. Okay, and then you end up confused about what to eat. And I hear people tell me all the time that they didn't know what to eat, so they end up skipping the meals, or they'd have meals that just weren't satisfying, so then they end up snacking and picking in between meals, having cravings, and then feeling guilty about not sticking to it, eating stuff that they weren't supposed to eat. So then they end up eating more and end up binging. And the thing is, when you change your diet too much, okay, you make really big drastic changes, you're really strict with what you're eating, it's just not sustainable. Okay, and it's unhealthy to cut out whole food groups. So you just as much as it's not healthy to you're not really learning about normal healthy eating if you're told that some foods are unlimited. Okay, that's not necessarily a healthy balanced diet either. You're not looking at the overall balance. All you're doing is you're learning to look at foods as points or sins or whatever you want to call it, rather than learning how to put together healthy balanced meals. Okay, you're looking at food as good or bad, rather than building healthy habits and building a healthy attitude towards food. Okay, so that's the advice. A little bit about the advice. It's too strict, it's too drastic. The 5th reason then why I think you need to just forget slimming clubs, okay, because they suck, is that you can often pick up like a really dodgy dieting mentality from other people in the group. Okay, it's really easy to get sucked into the obsession where your only focus is on food, okay, and the number on the scales. So all you're thinking all the time is about what you're allowed to eat, what you're not allowed to eat, and weight and weight loss just really takes over your life. Dieting becomes this hobby. You'll always find there's people that go to these groups all the time, They've been going forever, but they're not really committed to actually changing their habits. They're not really committed to building healthy habits. So, you know, they might share tips for how to get the number down on the scales, but it's all about the short-term results. So people tell me things like there's people who they won't make any changes all week, but then they'll eat ice chips all day just before their weigh-in. So then it looks like they've lost some weight, and then they reward themselves with cake or whatever because the scale said that they lost a pound, when actually they didn't. They didn't make any changes. It's just a bonkers mentality, because they're not actually making proper sustainable changes. They're just looking at the scales, the short term, and people can get competitive with each other as well. But again, in the long term, it's more harmful because they're not focusing on making real, sustainable, healthy changes to their habits. They're just doing things, restricting themselves in the short term to get the weight loss going, to get to their target, to get the results. It's not about building a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. Okay. And then on the other side, you can get people who you know, they can get sucked into convincing themselves or other people why it might not be working, with reasons that, you know, don't really make sense, when there's actually you know, there's nobody who's actually looking at what's really going on, helping them to actually unpick what's going on in their life, why they're eating, how they're actually really eating, and why. Because it's so easy just to convince yourself you're making the changes when you're not really, or there's something else going on. You know, we've all seen these TV programs with secret eaters and things like that. It's really easy to kind of get sucked into, oh, it's, you know, it's not your fault, and we're not talking about, you know, obviously you don't want to be blaming yourself for what's going on in your life, but you need to really unpick what's actually going on, and you just don't do that in slimming clubs. Okay, so then the final reason, then reason number 6 why just slimming clubs suck and they just make it worse for you, is they don't teach you what's actually going to help you, what's actually going to help you in the long term. They don't teach you the skills. It's all about the results on the scales, following the plan to get to your target weight, limiting and restricting yourself with what you're eating, demonizing certain foods and filling up on others, instead of actually learning what is a normal, healthy, balanced diet, how to put together balanced meals that are actually going to satisfy you, you know, and keep you going until your next meal. So you don't need to be snacking. You feel good. You know, you're not you know what to eat, and you feel happy with what you're eating. They're not teaching you to explore why you eat in the first place, or learning the skills that are going to help you make changes that you can stick to forever. There's no focus on building healthy habits that fit in with your individual lifestyle. Okay, it's all about changing everything to follow the plan, and not looking at eating and exercising for health and enjoyment. It's all about the weight loss. Okay, it's not looking at what maybe you need to change in your life to actually support you making those changes. It's just all about the plan. Okay, so just to recap then, so the advice is too strict, it's too drastic, it's too different to what you normally do, so it's not sustainable. You can pick up all sorts of dodgy dieting mentality from other people in the group, and then they just don't teach you what's actually going to help you. So overall, I see over and over again, when you've done all the diets, you've been to all the slimming clubs over and over, you're more likely to build up a really shitty relationship with food. So it's time to ditch all that and just get back to eating normally again. And you can find out how to make it easy for yourself to eat normal, healthy, balanced diets that will actually satisfy you and keep you going until your next meal, with my super simple guide to healthy eating, which you'll find the link for in the description of this video, or in the main, I'll put the link in the main blog. But it's time to ditch dieting forever, because you absolutely deserve better. Take care, and I'll see you soon.